This panel is on Latin American Bitcoin ecosystem, very exciting topic. Again, we got a great group of folks. Matthias Dajic, the VP of OTC at Ripio. Thank you. Paulo Passoni, Managing Director at SoftBank Latin America and the crypto lead. SoftBank is a serious powerhouse of a company. We have two people from SoftBank on this panel. Bruno Caratori, co-founder of Hashdex. And Shu Niata, who's also with SoftBank, managing partner of Latin America and head of Miami. So welcome, folks. Take it away.
Thank you. 4 p.m. panel is a challenge. We got to keep everyone awake and interested, so we'll do our best. Thanks for sticking around. We'll jump right into it, just so everyone understands who's on stage. So we'll do the quick, exciting, high-level intro. Maybe we start here.
Perfect.
With Hashdex.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Bruno Caratori, a co-founder of Hashdex. We are an investment manager specialized in crypto assets based in Brazil. We're the largest investment manager in LATAM with over $600 million in AUM.
Awesome. Paulo?
I run the Latin America fund for SoftBank with Shu. It's a $5 billion fund dedicated to growth equity in the region. And we have right now 4 investments in the crypto space. We're just getting started. And I'm sure we're going to do much more going forward.
Matthias?
Hi, I'm Matthias Deitch. Thanks for the invitation. I'm Ripio's Vice President of the OTC business. We're one of the first crypto companies in Latin America. We've been there for the last 8 years.
Awesome. And at a high level, so Latin America, crypto, Bitcoin, why are we having this panel? So at a high level, talk about why Latin America and crypto and Bitcoin are such a natural pairing. Like, what is, at the macro level, the opportunity for Bitcoin and crypto in LATAM?
I'd say there's a few components at least. You know, I'll let Matthias comment on the needs. One thing I can comment on is that people don't realize how Latin Americans are prone to adopting new technologies. You know, we've seen this in Brazil in a number of ways. From social networks, that's a famous case of Latin Americans adopting new technologies.
Number 2 user of Facebook, number 1
so
user
exactly,
of Netflix,
you know, you look at numbers, and LATAM is always a big representation there. So there's definitely an opportunity for quick and deep adoption. You know, crypto has been a retail-led phenomenon since the beginnings, and that's, I think, fertile ground for Latin America. And there's the other piece, which I'll let Matthias comment a little about, which is, you know, there's the needs piece as well.
Yeah, I think also in Latin America, due to, as we were talking before, a lot of people which is unbanked, the unbanked population, which is around 60% of the population, they foresee crypto to enter to the digital economy as an opportunity. So in our case, we have 1.8 million users through our digital wallet, plus the exchange or the OTC are solutions, in that case, for dollarize their portfolio, dollarize their salary. In our case, in Argentina, we have capital controls, many restrictions. So they see an access through crypto to access to different assets instead of the traditional assets.
And Paulo, you've been investing in LATAM for a very long time. Why is crypto and Bitcoin so interesting for the region?
I think there's a lot, the whole Bitcoin movement has a lot to do with monetary policy in the US and globally being kind of messed up. We all know that. There is no other region in the globe that has experimented with bad macroeconomic ideas more than our countries in Latin America. We are unbelievable at doing that. And I think there is no other region as a result where the concept will be most effective in creating change. And I think both Ripio, Hashdex, and others will be able to, I heard somebody before here say, we're going to, through Bitcoin, lift people out of poverty. That's in Latin America. And I'm sure Africa and other countries like that, because those are the places where nobody trusts the currency. Nobody trusts the means of payment. Nobody trusts the government. And I think this conference here represents an alternative for the region and something that can create tremendous value for society.
And Mati, you were sharing earlier that the Argentine inflation rate this year is going to be, what, 100%?
Yeah.
Yet
The-
again?
Yeah,
So
the forecast is again 3 digits. So I totally agree with the panel. High inflation rates, high devaluation, capital controls. They see Bitcoin as an asset to save their money instead of trust in the traditional banking system.
So that macro thesis is interesting. Why Bitcoin, why crypto in LATAM? But why should local companies be built in LATAM? So why isn't that an opportunity for the big global players to come to LATAM? Why does it make sense to build local companies, and what do those companies do that's so local and so defensible?
In the case of Ripio, we started 8 years ago with another capital controls from another government, and it was an opportunity to avoid the capital controls through domestic currency. You can buy pesos, so from pesos to Bitcoin, and you can send money abroad through Bitcoin. So 8 years ago in Argentina, as Paulo was saying, we already had capital controls. 8 years later, we have another capital controls, and people is investing more in crypto, more in Bitcoin, to avoid local you can buy crypto because it's legal, but you can avoid some capital controls or some local regulations through crypto.
Depending on the vertical you are, and of course, it will make more sense to have a localized version or not. I can speak a lot about investment management, especially because we work with a number of companies in the infrastructure space that, for us, it's even better if they're abroad. But in investment management, which is our case, understanding the market, having relationships with financial advisors, understanding how the local population thinks about investing makes a whole ton of difference. So, and that's, looking back, I think the main reason we've been so successful and why I think we have a defensible position is in that understanding of local customers, of developing trust and relationship with the power brokers in the middle of your value chain. And it makes a difference.
And let me just double click on that before getting to you, Paulo. I heard on the previous panel people were saying ETFs in the US were still navigating jurisdictional, this and that and the other. You have an ETF, a couple of ETFs in Brazil, one of the few globally available ETFs anywhere in Bitcoin, predominantly Bitcoin, and also crypto. So why was that possible in Brazil? How did you get that done?
Good question. Why Brazil? I have a self-serving answer, which is...
Give your self-serving answer.
It's because of hashtags, first of all. But
because you are brilliant, yes.
We were bold. We were bold, bolder than most. But I think there's a number of components there. So yes, we did launch one of the first crypto ETFs in the world, the first multi-currency one. So we have an ETF that follows the NASDAQ Crypto Index, which is an index that we co-developed with NASDAQ. And
so you co-developed the index with NASDAQ.
Yes.
But it's not available on NASDAQ.
It is not available on NASDAQ.
On the B3 in Brazil.
It is available on the B3 in Brazil.
I don't know how many people knew that. If you knew that, raise your hand. There we go.
So
share it at cocktail hour.
This is, it's a recent ETF, but it's been highly successful so far. It launched with over $100 million. It's grown significantly. No matter how you look at it, it's been successful when liquidity and volume. Premiums are super compressed. We've brought, I think, over 90,000 people into the market through this ETF. We have a number of institutional investors now. Not just trading, but also building long-term positions through this ETF. But going back to your original question, once again, I do think we were founded 3 years ago with this laser focus on launching an ETF. We believed in the power of an ETF as a very flexible product that would serve well every type of investor. It's been a journey since then. We have benefited from a somewhat forward-looking regulator. The CVM, which is the local SEC, has been open to innovation, so we were able to work with them. we were able to work with a number of great partners. One of our great partners is actually the BSX, the Bermuda Stock Exchange. The ETF in Brazil benefited from a precedent that iShares had established before, which is it's an ETF of an ETF. So we did this alongside with the BSX, and that enabled us. So partnerships with folks like NASDAQ, the BSX, and all the service providers that we had for our other products is really what enabled it. And it's been a great ride so far.
And building on this, so Brazil, you're Brazilian too.
Yeah.
Brazil is this very complicated financial ecosystem, super sophisticated. There are all these local nuances that are very strange outside Brazil. And a few of them are very available and interesting for the world of blockchain, right? So, Paulo, maybe you can talk about, in the context of some of the investments we're making, that
Yeah, I would
idea.
say because in Latin America you have hyperinflation for decades, the level of sophistication of the financial sector is quite high, and people are very creative because, you know, somehow instead of doing startups, people end up in the financial sector in Latam. Now they are doing startups, but for the longest time they ended up in the financial sector. So lots of good talent, and just to give an example, the best central bank president in the globe today is in Brazil, Roberto Campos. He launched a blockchain-based, centralized, not decentralized, payment system called Pix. It's taking market share like crazy from fiat, and it's incredible. It's taking down the transaction fees in the economy.
And it's T0 settlement.
T0s, exactly. So he's using blockchain technology to substitute the payment architecture. Like this has happened in the last 6 months. And he's a big believer in launching a BRL-backed crypto. So he's advancing the concept behind this big time. And the other thing we see is like sometimes creative solutions coming out of Brazil for global problems. For example, there's a company with a truck in front of this conference that is issuing carbon credit certificates backed by people that are saving the Amazon forest, and they're getting paid on that, and that can trade globally. So very interesting application also of ingenious kind of people that are coming from the region. So I really quite excited about other things that will come and the talent that is going in the sector. Like these guys are super talented, and I see the best talented people now going to the sector, and 2-3 years from now, you'll see a lot more innovation. So very exciting.
And I want you to also comment, Paulo, on one other thing, which is tokenization. We see a lot of talk about tokenization. We've met companies tokenizing various things in the US, and it's usually unclear to us exactly what problem they're solving because it's a generally pretty efficient market. But there are these things called consorcios in Brazil that someone is tokenizing. And so just give a little of that
is like
flavor.
this. So you get 100 people, and you all put money every month to get a car. And then there's a lottery. If you're lucky, you get the car early. If you're the unluckiest person, you get the car in 5 years, right? So guess what? In the middle of that, you might change your mind, and you might say, I don't want more. Guess what? You can only get your money back at the end of the 5-year period. So they're tokenizing your claim and selling it in crypto exchanges. So just a very interesting concept of making an asset class 10 times more attractive to individuals because you're using this technology. So just one example.
And on this theme of cool stuff happening in LATAM, so beyond your own companies. So Mati, maybe you can talk about some projects you've come across, some friends of yours in the community that are doing interesting stuff in Argentina or elsewhere.
Yeah, first I would like to highlight something between the users in Argentina and Brazil. In Argentina, due to all the problems with the financial system, with the capital controls, our users try to hold the crypto. Meanwhile, our users in Brazil, they are trying to do intraday trading in our exchange. So the user profile, it's interesting because in Argentina it's more to hold in
Or value.
yeah, store of value. Meanwhile, in Brazil, it's like they're trying to arbitrage intraday. That's why we acquired last December the second largest exchange in Brazil, because the user profile is different. So that's something interesting. And regarding the question, Shu, yes, we were trying to help a lot of companies trying to send fiat outside the country through crypto. We have been working with Mercado Libre during the first quarter, explaining them how to enter to crypto, they
And
acquired.
Mercado Libre, just because I don't know if everyone is familiar with it, it's basically the Amazon / Alibaba of Latin America.
Yeah.
Huge e-commerce
Yeah.
company.
So the first steps through crypto, they were done through our help in Ripio. Other multinational companies are also trying to access to crypto, and we're trying to help them through our OTC desk solutions.
Awesome. Any others that you want to call out, Bruno?
I will call out, and I wish there were more of these. What attracted me to crypto, first of all, was the technology. You know, when you go back and think of all the cryptography primitives that enable Bitcoin and all of this, I wish there was more of base crypto technology happening in Brazil. There's one project that's native there. It's called Hathor, and it's from you know, folks who are really close to people in our team. So I wish there were more of this, but at least we have.
What are they
So
building?
it's a smart contract platform. You know, I think competing with all the others in the usual dimensions of, you know, cost to operate, scalability, time to finality, etc. But the fact that there's, you know, people down there on the ground thinking of the base of the technology makes me happy.
And I'd mentioned one other company that we just invested in called Bitso in Mexico. And they have an exchange, but on top of that liquidity, they're building very real applications. So one of the biggest ones is remittance, USD, BTC, MXN. And they account for close to 10% of the Mexico USD remittance volume. And the Mexico USD remittance volume is the largest corridor in the world. So this is a meaningful use case. And the summary I would say is the companies outside places like LATAM are developing cool technology, but companies in Latin America are actually making Bitcoin and crypto useful.
Right, because the Mexicans sending money to back home
Yeah.
are paying 10%. 10%, it's ridiculous, right? Now there's a solution for 2%. Hopefully competition goes to basis points. And that's what it should be.
Right.
Like, right?
Yeah, awesome. And Paulo, we've invested a lot in financial services, fintech, in the region. Arguably, the world of Bitcoin, the world of crypto, the world of DeFi is the evolution of fintech. So how do you see that? Is that
Yeah.
a tension? Are those things
There-
complementary?
There's definitely a tension. I feel like I'm a pastor.
You're a pastor
Yes.
in a church.
In a church, telling our fintech CEOs, wake up. You know, they're sleeping. And then the best way I'm getting their attention is like, if you simply offer Bitcoin in your platform, your adoption rate, your CAC is going to fall because people want it. You know, and it's simple as that. So everyone knows Robinhood in the US and how much crypto is trading through Robinhood. If you want to launch a Robinhood-like product and you're not offering crypto, you're dead. So that's coming to our fintechs in LATAM, right? So I want to make sure that they're aware of that, they're thinking of it, they're partnering with the other companies in the sector so that they don't have to be the experts in Bitcoin, but they can plug into other companies and offer that service and product to their customers. Because guess what? The customers want it. And it's the main reason why they're coming to you. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending all your money in Google and Facebook to attract them. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good business. So we're trying to wake them up for this. So on the B2C side, it's very clear. And on the B2B side, it's just mind-blowing what they can do. And the early days of you know, this whole technology revolutionizing every single application on the B2B side. So I'm just being an evangelist, so to speak, with the portfolio company CEOs who literally thought this thing was crazy. And even though they're startup CEOs, like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a little bit of that role that I try to play with them.
And you give the example of landlines and mobile phones a lot, which is in certain emerging markets, Africa, where I'm from, most notably, people just skip landlines. They went straight to mobile phones. And in places like Latin America, it's arguable that you'll just skip the traditional fintech and you'll go straight to crypto fintech.
Which is Matthias' idea, right, Matthias?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So, well, I mean, 50% of people in Mexico transacting cash, they get robbed. It's a disaster, right? So so much value to
Yeah.
be created.
And what's holding it back? Anything you wish was different? What are the big challenges in LATAM to Bitcoin adoption, crypto adoption, innovation in this space? Mati, maybe you could start.
Yeah, one thing, we are working with the central bank, with the local regulator, trying to explain and to develop, because they are looking for to establish a regulated environment for the crypto companies. So we're trying to explain them. We're working with all the regulators, because in Argentina we have also another problem, which is related to the international reserve of the central bank. So they're trying to avoid all the capital outflow, and they are looking for all the crypto companies that are trying to sell money abroad the country. So we explain them, because there are a lot of use cases nowadays with crypto, a lot of developers trying to receive their salary in crypto, and we're trying to explain to the local authorities that this is something that arrives, and we need to work with it. So we are working with them, and we think that a new regulation will come in Latin America, also in Brazil, in other countries where Ripio is present. And this is a challenge for the industry. And I think that in the short term, the industry will change. Also, there is a huge lobby from the traditional banking industry, because they provide service to all of our companies. So also, we're trying to explain to all the fintech that the crypto companies need the fintech, and the fintech need the local companies. So we are working with them, and we think that in the next year and a half, we will have a new regulation in Argentina for the crypto companies.
Bruno, what do you think?
Yeah, as much as I think regulators have been somewhat forward-thinking and helping us, I still think it is, for crypto specifically, for Bitcoin, it is, the main friction point. The specific issue of financial crimes is one that worries everybody, especially regulators. They just don't know how to deal with this. There have been businesses, the cipher traces and chain analysis of the world, that are helping not just companies, but governments also get more visibility into the legitimacy of transactions. But the standards are not there yet. If a transaction, if some Bitcoins 6 transactions ago passed through a illegal wallet, or some criminal's wallet, should I worry about this or not? And until we get this clarity, I think adoption will not go to the next stage, which is really what we need for this to become mainstream.
Paulo, any other thoughts?
I think the biggest challenge is having pro-crypto governments. And today, I only see really one, which is Brazil, because of Roberto Campos. Because this individual believes in it, and he's really helping. The others are just unaware of what it is and very skeptical. And I think the sector needs to explain the benefits to society and to the governments, which, to be honest, is a challenge in itself. Because the whole point here is to fix their fuck up. So how are you going to explain to them that they're going to benefit from it? It's like, it's a little bit tricky.
Awesome. So LATAM is where crypto becomes useful. You have an economy with crazy macroeconomic policy where people are creating a store of value that's real based on Bitcoin and crypto. You have one of the first ETFs in the world. You have all kinds of innovation happening to broaden inclusion. And remember that about LATAM. It's one of the most interesting markets for crypto in the world. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around. Enjoy the rest of the conference.